please bring back Devontae Adams. We all want him, Packer fans. We all want him. Please just bring back Devontae Adams. Hello, folks. Welcome to Jeremy Hadler's YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadler, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 Packer free agent targets I got here on my list of who I want very badly here for the Packers this upcoming free agency. And through that, I'm going to be going through what's more realistic of who's going to be happening, and that's basis my order. But I'm going to go through 5 through 1. Of course, I'm going to have an honorable mention because you can't leave out an honorable mention for a list whenever I do it. But I'm going to go through their height, their weight, their age, how they're fit with the team, the pros and cons with signing them, and the projected contract. So let's start with honorable mention. But before I start with that, folks, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Would appreciate it, especially for the Packer fan nation. Appreciate to hear your thoughts up there. And comment in the chat too, folks. Love to hear your thoughts too. But let's start with honorable mention. Honorable mention I got is Devontae Adams. Yes. You got to leave it to Devontae Adams for honorable mention. I don't think it's going to happen. The Packer fans want it to happen. Packers media people don't want it to happen. So let's talk about why that's on both sides of why some people want him, some people don't. Devontae Adams, wide receiver, played for the Raiders and the Jets last season. He's 32 years old, 215 pounds. He's 6'1", ladies and gentlemen. His stats from last season, he had 85 receptions, 1,063 receiving yards, 8 receiving TDs. That is not bad. That's still good given his age. Now, what's the big struggle why the Packers media side does not want him and why they don't think it's going to happen? The contract is a big thing because he's going to be demanding a high-paying contract, and the Packers will not do that because Brian already said in his press conferences that he does not want aging players starting to decline. He doesn't want that. So that is a big issue, and the only way I see him coming to Green Bay is if he's willing to take a hometown discount. Discount double check, baby. That's the only way I see it for Devontae Adams comes to the Packers. What's the pros? The pros are that he knows the system pretty well. He is very good route running. That's one of his big things that he's very well known for. Leadership, red zone threat. He's still going to be a red zone threat and be a big playmaker. He still can do that. Other issue I did have with him is there's too many receivers. So is he willing to distribute the ball? Is he willing to be selfish and not demand the ball all the time? That'd be a question of how he'd be utilizing his offense. So I don't think it's going to happen personally. I think it'd be a good move, but I think it's not going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen. Only way I see is a hometown discount. Number 5 here, ladies and gentlemen, on my list I got is Byron Murphy, the CB from the Minnesota Vikings. 27 years old. He's 190 pounds, and he's 5'11". Now, do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely. This guy's a stud. I really like what he's done with Minnesota Vikings, and his tenure with them the past 2 seasons have been pretty good for him. He got Pro Bowl last year. I mean, he bounced around his seasons. He got hurt with the Arizona Cardinals, who drafted him, then went to the Minnesota Vikings. Didn't look like he showed much potential, and he showed his potential the last 2 seasons. And I think he'd be pretty good here, ladies and gentlemen. 27 years old, that's not terrible for a CB with their age-wise. His stats from last year, 14 pass defended, 6 interceptions, tied for the most in the NFL, 81 combined tackles. Now, you put him in the system for Jeff Hafley's defense, he's an instant CB1. Excels in the slot. He's very good at being a blitzer and a great tackler. So those are some of the things that you need for a good defensive back. He's a physical guy, which I think that's very good in Jeff Hafley's defense is what he looks for in his CBs. He's also very good in the run defense, so if you need to put him up in a plug-in to stop the run a little bit, he can help out in that area. He's also versatile in many different areas with the zone coverage and man coverage. He's very strong instincts in the zone coverage is what he's excelled the most at in reading offenses. Now, what are my issues with him? Well, his size is one issue where he's 5'11". That's not so good for a CB for their height, but he's making up for it. So that doesn't completely hurt me of why I don't want him to come to the Packers. Another thing is he's inconsistent man coverage, and that is something that Jeff Hafley's defense is really all about, is press man coverage, so he has to do a little bit better with that. He was ranked 32 for CBs according to PFF last year. That's pretty good. He's an average run stopper, and he has great pass coverage. So those are the things I like about him. But my concerns, again, are the size and his inconsistent man coverage. He has to get a lot better with that. And according to Pro Football Focus, his projected contract in free agency is going to be a 3-year deal, averaging about $17.33 million. but it could definitely go up because there are rumors that's going up to $20 million with $34.5 million guaranteed. So he's going to be demanding a lot. I don't think the Packers are going to get him, unfortunately. I would love him to come. He's one of my guys I really want the Packers to get, but Minnesota's trying to re-sign him. Also, Ravens are heavily on CBs this year. So I would really love him. I think it'd be a pipe dream scenario for the Packers to get him, but I just don't think it happened. You also want to take someone from your division rival and just join on the team. We've done it before. Love to do it again, but I just don't think it happens. Number 4 here, ladies and gentlemen. I got Jarvarius Ward, CB from the 49ers. He's 28 years old, 196 pounds. He's 6'1". What happened with him was last season he lost his kid, unfortunately. So he didn't play that much that he was going to. And he doesn't want to be the 49ers anymore because every time he goes to play for the 49ers, when he thinks of them, he just thinks of that unfortunate scenario for him. So apologies for what happened to you. Wish the best for you, but that's just unfortunate for him. But before that, he was a Pro Bowler with the 49ers. And with that season prior, to give you the stats of that Pro Bowl season, he had 23 passes defended was his best statistic for that. Now, what I don't like about him is his lack for creating turnovers. So he's not a ball hawk, which can be good, but you got to intercept some balls or create some turnovers to help the defense out. That is something the Packers were very good at last year, and that's something that has to keep going for the Packers, especially in Jeff Hadler's defense, to succeed very well in. So that's one issue I have. It's not too terrible. He's had a little injuries here and there also too, folks, so it's not completely terrible for him. But what do I really like about him? Well, he has good leadership. He can play in the slot outside, so that's good because you're going to be the C1 because the Packers are letting go Jair Alexander this offseason. Excels in man coverage. That's what I really like about him. He's a physical guy, good in press man coverage. All the things that you would want for a guy to be in Jeff Hadler's defense. This is it here. He's also solid against the run and can make tackles. He can make tackles. That's pretty good on my end. And he's played in similar defensive schemes with the 49ers compared to the Packers because Jeff Hadler used to work for the 49ers and ran the same defensive scheme when DeMeco Ryans was defensive coordinator for the 49ers 2 years ago. So he has some familiarity with that, so it wouldn't be much of an adjustment for him. And what his projected contract is looking like here, folks, is $12 to $15 million per year, 3-year deal, about $45.8 million according to Spotrac. So for me, I wouldn't mind this. I would really like him. I just wouldn't do a long-term deal. A 3-year deal, I would probably go a little less numbers than the $45 million. But besides that, I think he'd be a very good option for the Packers to get if they can't get some of the higher guys I have on this list. But Javarius Ward, I think it's a pretty good option for the Packers to get. Number 3 here, ladies and gentlemen, I got Deo Aduyingabo. Hopefully I pronounced that right. This just came out recently here as I'm recording this. The Packers are very interested in this guy. He's an edge rusher from the Indianapolis Colts. He's 25 years old, 287 pounds, 6'6". Big dude. Stats from last season. He had 3 sacks, 31 combined tackles, 17 QB hits, 9 tackles for loss, and generated 42 pressures for the Indianapolis Colts. That would be second in the Packers defense from last season. And the first person, obviously, is Rashawn Gary, who had 47. So he'd be pretty good. He had better stats in 2023, which to give it to you guys, he had 8 sacks, 38 combined tackles, 17 QB hits, 7 tackles for loss. And he had 1 start to that season, folks. So I definitely see this as a move the Packers can make in free agency here. It reminds me a lot of the Zarius Smith and Preston Smith signing and getting those guys because Packer fans didn't know who he was. They didn't know who they were, nor are they going to know about him once they sign him. But once he gets on the field, he'll be electric. And he is a young guy, still in his age 25, so that's pretty good to see there. What's my concerns with him? Well, my concerns with him is he had tore Achilles this rookie season. He's still developing his technique, so he has a lot of potential. That's not a great or bad thing. It's just mid, in my opinion, because it could exceed very well of like high potential or exceed very low. Vice versa. So I think that's mid of like my concern there. So definitely has some improvement to work on if the Packers get him. And another thing is consistency. I'd like to see a little bit more consistency from him. But what do I really like about him is he shows flashes of potential with his pass rush, especially using his strength and power to get after the offensive line, disrupt the pocket, and get after the quarterbacks. Another thing I really like about him is he's very good in the run defense. He can stop the run. So you don't have to put him on like the lineup up on the edge side right alongside with Sean Gary. Put him right next to Kenny Clark, and boom. I think he'd be very well, and he's a very versatile player, so that's another thing. That's Brian Gutekunst's word that he always loves when looking at players. So he's very good in the run defense. He's a versatile player, and he could come at quarterbacks and disrupt the pocket in different angles. You put him in different blitz packages, especially is what he's known for. So Jeff Hadler would have a fun time with this guy. Now, what is the deal looking like here for him? Well, according to Spotrac, it's looking like a $16 to $20 million per year range. So in that process, what I did was calculate the average, which was 18. So from what I'm looking at is a 3-year deal for $54 million. That I would do personally. I would be fine with doing that deal. It's just you can't. It's not going to be fully 54 million guaranteed. Probably be about 27 million guaranteed. My guess here, folks. So this is a move I would not be surprised the Packers make, and this is a move I would like personally. I put him high on my list, but I don't. He's not the guy I would really want the Packers to get. But this is a move I would not mind the Packers getting. I think it'd definitely be helpful for them. Number two, your ladies and gentlemen, if you told me a month ago who this guy was, I'd have no idea who it is. But now I do here, ladies and gentlemen, and that's Paulson Adebo, CB from the New Orleans Saints. He's 25 years old. He's 192 pounds and 6'1". To give you his stats here, folks. Last year, he didn't play the whole season because he broke his femur a couple weeks into the season. So didn't play out the rest of the season for that last year. But to give you his best season, which was 2023, he had 4 interceptions, 18 pass defended, 76 combined tackles here, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty good with his pass defended with 18. I really like about that. But he's a good pass breakup, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But what concerns me about him is penalties. He draws penalties so much that it's concerning me. So that's one big red flag I have about him. Tackling issues, he's got to tackle the players. He's got to make those tackles. Inconsistent technique, that is something I think they can work on. I think that's not a huge concern. But with Jeff Hafley, I think he will be a lot better in his scheme and his defense. Injuries are another concern to me. That is because he had the broken femur, like I mentioned before. So we don't know if he's going to be fully 100% when he comes to play. That is another big issue. So injuries, inconsistency, tackling issues, and drawing penalties is the big issues I have with him. But what do I really like about him? Well, he's very good in zone coverage. He's very proficient at that. That's what he's best at when he was with the Saints. He's good at reading quarterbacks. He's great on breaking up the ball when you need a pass breakup and stop receiver. That's what he's really good at. So I appreciate about him. He's a ball hawk at breaking that up. He's versatile in different coverages. So if you want to put him in a cover 2, cover 3 scheme, that's what he's really good at. And if you watch the tape of the Saints, that's what he was utilized a lot in. He's a good coverage CB, and that's what the Packers need. And he'd definitely be the CB1 for the Packers because they're letting J.R. Alexander go. So he would be the number one guy for the Packers defense on the CB wise. But this is a move I definitely see Brian make. He tries to go for those guys starting up their prime and breaking out. 25 years old, that's pretty good. The only issues I have with him again is the injuries, inconsistent technique, and drawing penalties. Those are the issues I have with him. Now, once his projected contract, according to Spot Track, it's a 2-year deal, approximately $22.23 million, averaging about $11 million. So that's not a bad deal. I would probably do a short-term deal. I wouldn't do a long-term deal because we don't know if he's going to be 100% when he comes back on the field. That's big issue to me. So I would like it, but you got to address the things I mentioned before about the cons. If he gets through all that, then this is a home run pick, I think, for Brian Gutekunst to make him free agency. But this is a guy I would like for the Packers to make. And finally, who I want badly for the Packers to get, my number one guy is DJ Reed. I badly want him to come to the Packers, a CB from the New York Jets. There have been 4 Packers that have gone to the Jets and played for them the last couple of years. Can we get a former Jet to come play for the Packers? Vice versa. Let it happen. Maybe Devontae Adams, but I would like DJ Reed. I prefer him more. He's 28 years old, 187 pounds, 5'9". That's a concern. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Last year's stats here, folks. He had 11 pass defended, 64 combined tackles. PFF, his grade was a 70, so that's pretty good. He's a solid press man coverage guy. That's what we like about him. He has experience in playing the outside corner, the slot, and safety. So if that gives you tools to play with Jeff Hafley before you want to utilize them, that would be pretty good. He would instantly be the CB1 for the Packers. Instantly would be. He's a good tackler. He's a tough, physical guy. He's a playmaker and a ball hawk, so he can swat passes, catch the ball. There weren't that many interceptions he's had, but he can make those key plays if you need him to be. He's good vision. He excels in zone coverage. His great instincts is what I really like about him. Pretty good in man coverage. Now, what concerns you about DJ Reed is his size, 5'9", because the Packers usually don't go after guys that are 5'9". I don't think size totally matters for a decision to make if it's between a 5'10" and 5'9", but the 5'9" player is a so much better player. You got to go with the 5'9" player. I think it shouldn't totally be based on the size. I think that should be a factor, but I don't think it should be a huge factor in determining whether they should go after this guy or not. I don't think that should be a huge concern. Another challenge I have is durability because he is yet to have any injuries and has lasted through the season, which is pretty good. But when he's had to come out a couple times here and there, not had huge injuries, but he's had to come out a couple times here and there. So durability is a little bit of an issue of how many reps, how many plays can you get him in the whole time when he's on defense. So that's going to be another issue to me about him. But again, what I really like about him is his zone coverage. That's what he's best at in compared to man-to-man coverage. He's pretty good at man-to-man coverage, but zone is his best area. He was averaged in the grading wise for PFF in every grading that they had for a cornerback in PFF last season. He was above average in every single one, so that's pretty good. What's his contract looking like? According to Spot Track, it's a 4-year deal, $59 million. I would not give him that deal if it was me personally, because I think with the age, and that's when you see CB starting to decline a little bit. I think a 3-year deal would be better and a little less money. Probably take it down 10 million, 49 million. Wouldn't mind that if I'm the Packers here, but that's who I got here, folks, of who I want the Packers to get. To list off to you again, honorable mention was Devontae Adams. Number 5 was Byron Murphy. Javarius Ford, number 4. Number 3, Deo Ujiyingbo. Hopefully I pronounced that right. That was my number 3 guy, and I think the Packers will probably get him by the time this video comes out. Number 2, I got Paulson Adebo, and number 1, DJ Reed. Packers are heavily interested in him. I would love him to come to Green Bay. Would love it. But according to Rob Demoski, the ESPN reporter for the Packers are expected to be contenders in free agency. They have over $46 million to spend in free agency, and what they're targeting is wide receiver, defensive line, CB. I don't think they're going to go heavily in interior-wise, more of an edge, I would say, on defensive line. And wide receiver, I'll believe when I see it when they bring in a wide receiver. I'll believe when I see it. But CB, I think that's their high priority is what they're going to get. And I think it's going to affect them a little bit in the draft-wise, because if they're not able to get like Paulson or DJ or Javarius or Byron Murphy, they're going to heavily go CB in the first round. But I wouldn't mind if they get double up in free agency and in the draft, the first round or second round. I wouldn't mind that either. But Packers expect to be contenders, and I'll believe when I see it here, guys. They've done it before. Brian has made moves before. But those are the guys that we want here, folks. Appreciate you tuning in. Leave your thoughts here once again, here, folks. Do you think this list is right of who you guys would want? Who do you think should come to the Packers? Would appreciate hearing the thoughts of what you think. But that's a wrap for this video. We'll see you until next time. And free agency is right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, go Pack Go.